Welcome to the jungle, guys. I got myself a handful of new cobras and I'm about to tell you what they are, so make sure you keep watching. You don't want to miss this one. Okay guys, so the snake that I'm going to be revealing to you guys today is a really special snake. It comes all the way from the Philippines and in my opinion is probably one of the prettiest cobra species in the entire world. I am of course talking about the Samar Spitting Cobra, Naja samarensis. Now, these snakes here are spitting cobras, but you'll see I'm not wearing too many goggles on my face. And that's because these Pacific Ocean ones, these specific ones, I've worked with for the last 4 years, and I'll tell you a bit about that story in a bit. But in the entire 4 years that I've known these snakes, they have never spat at me once. So that's kind of why I'm just taking the risk. I'm sure if you had to find them in the wild, they'd probably spit up a bit more. And I've got 3 of these snakes, and the one girl, I haven't brought her with today, she looks like she's gravid. So I think we might see a bit of spitting action out of the babies. Now, as I'm saying to you, this is a snake that I'm showing you now. It's a new snake, everything like that. But I've just said to you that I've worked with the snake for the past 4 years. Now, the way that happened was while I was still at dingoes, and now bear in mind, both of us have got allergies to spitting cobras, but when I worked at dingoes, we were doing a trade with another bloke, and these came up on the list, and I begged and I pleaded, and I basically didn't stop until I got my way. So these animals ended up in dingo's collection where I looked after them. Now, recently, obviously, these snakes never really fitted into dingo's collection plan, and we're a spitting cobra and it's just a mission. So Kirsty said to me, hey Lance, I know you've always loved these snakes, would you be keen on taking them? And I said, of course yes. So that is why they are now a new snake for me, even though I've worked with them. Now these cobras, even though they kind of look like a really pretty Florida king snake, couldn't be much further away from it, because these are in fact one of the top 5 most venomous cobras in the entire world. To give you an example, this little snake packs as much of a punch as what a black mamba does. And in South Africa, where there's no access to anti-venom for the snake, it's probably a bit of a bigger punch. Okay, so we've got to be really, really careful with these guys. Make sure we make no mistakes, of course, like we do with all of our snakes. Because like I always say, don't matter what the snake, most venomous one is the one that's just bitten you. So as long as you're staying away from the sharp end, generally things are good. Now this male here, I think he is just spectacularly stunning. And I'm so happy that he turned out to be the male, because it means I get to put his genes into all my girls. Now, what I really love about him, and I'll show you some B-roll of this, is he's got a really pale head. So it's got so contrasty to the rest of the body. Now, these snakes are actually the most eastern found species of cobra, okay? So the family of cobra is called Naja. So they're the most easternly found ones. They found on all these little islands around the Philippines. They are listed as least concern, so they're definitely not going extinct too soon, but I think it's an animal not too many people, unless you come from there, have ever even heard about. But I just think they're the most stunning snakes in the whole world, and I just can't wait to get some eggs out of these guys and see what the babies look like. My entire life, I've always wanted a Samar Spitting Cobra, because I'm going to come to Beck and I'm going to show you something here. Obviously, you guys can see how pretty that snake is, but Bex, maybe just try and get close to the thing, wait for it to turn. There you go, have a look at that hood. Okay, one of the prettiest snakes I think I've ever seen with my own eyes. And you guys know, I love a cobra. I love anything that stands up, spreads a big hood, and shows you exactly who he is. I think they just encompass everything that a snake is. And if I could, I'd have every single cobra in the entire world. But for now, we're just going to stick to a couple. These animals will come on display at our park eventually. Now, I've got 3 of these guys. This is one of my bigger females, and I'll promise you, I'll maybe insert a clip of what they like in the enclosure, because when they come out of the enclosure, they just go absolutely mental. But now, because the snake is in an unfamiliar environment, his only option is to try and get away. He doesn't know where he is. He's feeling threatened. He's out in the open. We know that snakes do not like being in open areas because, of course, birds, etc., etc. But an interesting thing about this snake now is that these snakes, these specific cobras, are in the top 5 most venomous cobras in the world, okay? So these guys need something like, I think it was 0.18 microgram to gram of mouse, which is how the LD50 works. Obviously, we're not mice, and until some country lets us start doing some testing on PDF files in prison, we only have to be able to use mice, okay? So Even though it's not a really good reflection of what it will do to a human being, it's definitely not a snake that you want to get bitten by. Have a look at that belly, guys. Just look at that snake. Now let's try and see if we can get him to stand up a bit, because his hood markings are just absolutely incredible. But again, like I say, once a snake is out of his familiar environment, which would be his enclosure, his tub, whatever it is, he's not going to feel as confident, okay? Because here, he's in an environment that he's not too sure of, and you can see, I'm not really using my hook stick. I wouldn't consider it free handling, because the snake's just trying to get away. All I'm doing is pulling him back. Now, this is actually the first time I've seen these snakes like straight up in the sun, and what I'm noticing here is some crazy iridescence, okay? Like mad amounts of iridescence. This snake is so pretty, and I'm just so stoked that I get to play with them and keep them in my own collection, because as I say, this is an animal that I've really wanted my entire life. Now, what makes a cobra so awesome to me? Is it the venom? No, I don't. To be honest with you, I don't really think about how venomous a snake is. I think it's like, I know that they're dangerous, and I know that, like, obviously it could hurt me. I've lost friends over these animals, but I think if you're thinking about how dangerous it is all the time, you're probably not focusing on what you should be. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video and you learned a little bit more about these beautiful new snakes that we've gotten. Now, we're here at the park and filming this, so I just can't wait for one day for you guys to come over here to the park and be able to see these snakes in person in one of our displays. I hope you guys enjoyed watching that, and we'll see you on the next one.